It might be the summer breeze, it might be the summer trees, but I'm feeling better now. I'm feeling better. I'm feeling better. I'm feeling better.
Today's edition of Real Health is especially for expecting moms. We'll chat about the nutrients that your body and your baby needs, different natural birthing options, the do's and don'ts of exercising while pregnant, and how to beat those pregnancy blues.
I'm feeling better.
Hi everyone, I'm Stacey Holland and welcome to another episode of Real Health. Today we'll be chatting about how we can go through a healthy and natural or happy pregnancy holistically. Let's kick things off with nutrition, and yes, the age-old saying of we are what we eat applies even more so when we're pregnant. And to share their insights on this topic is nutritional therapist and NLP practitioner Nikki Robertson, as well as food specialist Rachel Jessen. Ladies, it's great to have you with us. I feel like I'm tongue-twisted today, actually. And that's what a lot of moms go through, right? They have preggy brain. Why is that, by the way?
I think it's just the flood of hormones.
Is it?
I think so.
That's it. Or is it just this emotional experience?
It's a bit of overwhelm.
I'm not pregnant. Let's put a disclaimer there.
Yeah, I think there's so much to take in, and there's so much adrenaline and so much expectation that there's only so much you can really deal with at a time. So I think the brain fog is like a safety valve.
Yeah.
It makes you stop.
So there's so many things that are happening during this time. And the one thing that always comes up are these weird cravings. I had a friend who craved pap and tomato sauce. I had another friend who craved sand from the garden, for some reason. And then I had another friend who ate, I think it was Twinkies, those little cake things, and Yogi Sip. And I thought, well, is this all in your head, or is it a genuine craving?
No, I think it's your biochemistry.
Absolutely. And I also think it's got a lot to do with lacking those nutrients, or your baby
vitamins, right?
Taking those nutrients from you. So you look for it elsewhere. I know when I was pregnant with both my babies, I was craving cheese. And I think a lot of it had to do with the salt, because cheese is actually quite salty. And so I think it was a big aspect of the salt. So I started using more sea salt.
Whether you're pregnant or not, cravings are a really big warning sign that you're just not getting the right nutrition in, that you're not getting proteins, fats, carbs, you're not getting all the whole spectrum of what you should be eating.
Yeah.
So when
Did you crave
pregnant,
anything weird?
Nothing. So when you're pregnant, you've got a parasite. I love using that word because it lands.
In all respect.
You do.
It's lovely.
It's sucking the life out of you in the best possible way. But everything you eat becomes your child.
Yeah.
And if you're not eating enough, your body's going to hunt for it. It's a scavenger hunt.
Look, the other argument is that I'm eating for two.
It's completely untrue. Absolutely. You're not eating for two, you're eating for one. It's an excuse to overeat. And I think a lot of cravings are, it's like now I've got free reign to go and binge where I never otherwise would, and I'll lose the weight once I've had the baby, which doesn't happen.
There's no time.
Yeah.
But you often read in books, and I think it was What to Expect When You're Expecting, that you say, okay, well, you can let yourself go, but now it's okay. The only thing you need to let go of is the chemicals and, the hair dyes and the chemical creams and the toxic environments. That's what you need to let go. But you're more fastidious about your food and everything you put into your body and onto your body when you are pregnant.
Well, I mean, everyone knows there's this amazing supermodel, Giselle Bundchen, and she said when she had her first baby, she said she prepared for war. Not in I suppose an aggressive way, but she was like, this is something that's happening to my body that it's never experienced. I need to eat properly. I need to exercise. I need to get my mind right. It's preparation for something. And I thought that was a completely different approach when I read about it a few years back. Because I've also heard many a grandmother say to a pregnant woman or even a family member, an aunt, now's not the time to be worrying about what you eat. Now's the time to be just, to just chill out and have whatever you want. And, that for me is obviously counterintuitive, but that's the mindset of many women out there.
And don't give in to those hormones and those cravings, because the minute you do, the blood sugars are going to fluctuate. You're just going to send yourself on a downward spiral and eating really bad foods. Often they're the refined, really overly processed foods that are so nutrient depleted.
Yeah.
And so, like, not good for you. That it's really, really important to be absolutely fastidious with what you eat.
What about alcohol? You want to carry on that point?
Yeah, the quality of your food. So if at any time in your life you want to go organic, now's the time.
Absolutely.
Because those poisons, they really are poisons, and chemicals are going to become part of your child's brain. They're going to turn on or off genetic predispositions to disease. They are going to influence how your child relates to other people later on in life. It affects the brain, it affects the body. There's so much evidence nowadays to show that the pesticides, the systemic pesticides that's used in mass crop farming, hormones, antibiotics, have a huge negative effect on a fetus, on a young child.
And this is the thing. So I know quite a few pregnant women that smoke now, and they're pregnant. And they say, well, look at my kids that they already have. They're fine. But you just don't know when in the lifespan of your child those genes are going to be switched on, right? That
Fine
genetic...
compared to what?
Yeah, exactly.
You know, maybe that's your model of reality. That's all you know. But yes, and you don't know what's going to be switched on just now. There's heaps of evidence. There are actually countries who will arrest you if you smoke when you're pregnant. It is that damaging to the brain.
Give us a sense of why consuming alcohol and smoking while you're pregnant is so damaging to your unborn baby.
They're both incredibly toxic. So wine's got all the sulfites in it. It's got other preservatives and additives in the wine. So you're getting that from other foods as well. So you want to completely avoid that kind of stuff. The tobacco, the smoke, I think you're just smoking out your poor little child. I think smoking leads to a lot of low birth weights. And when you have low birth weights, you get problems, numerous problems from babies being born too light. So I just think it's just, you know, you've just got to suck it up and just really behave, because we all want our little babies to be the best little humans they can be.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You want them to succeed in life. You want them to make a life. And you just want the absolute best for them. And it actually needs to start before they're born. So preconception. So you start nourishing your body beforehand. Sally Fellin, who's a excellent nutritionist in the States, states that you should be nourishing your body from about 6 months pre-conception.
Wow.
And that's on all the good raw milks, the stocks, the real good foods for you before taking action. And the male, the partner as well, because poor alcohol, smoking for them reduces the quality of the sperm, which will affect, you know, what the outcome of what you produce.
You're preparing for this life. Many people don't get a chance to prepare. So they're already smoking, they're already drinking, they're already living perhaps not the best quality lifestyle that they should. What happens in those instances?
Your first trimester is your make or break trimester. That's where the ground starts to, the foundation starts to take place. So there's lots of people don't realize they're pregnant and they've been drinking and smoking, and now suddenly they find they're pregnant and you can hit a panic. But the best thing to do is just stop, do what you can do the best you can do. Don't stress about it. I think with pregnancy, there's a lot of stress, and it doesn't have to be that way. There's a lot of scary stories, and there's a lot of what ifs, and feel out of control. So if you go along to a doctor, get checked out, have your scans done, make sure everything's where it should be, that the fetus is healthy, and just do your very best. Stop with the toxins as soon as possible.
What about caffeine?
It kicks into your adrenaline system and your adrenals, and I think by avoiding it, you're going to give your baby the best adrenal glands they can ever have. And in this world, they really need those adrenal glands when you bring them into such a stressed world. So by just avoiding it, go for other options. You know, go for a herbal tea, go for a ginger water kefir, as a soda. Just start behaving, I think is what the...
I've never been pregnant. I'm not pregnant, but so I feel as if I can't really empathize. So give me an idea. Some mothers are like, you just don't know what I'm going through. I think they're aware that they've got this life on the inside of them and they're trying to make healthy decisions, but at some point in time, it kicks back to perhaps a survival mechanism like, I need this.
It's just something you're unable to control, but you have growing and growing inside you every single day. From little bubbles to little hiccups to little punches to all sorts of fabulous things. It's wonderful. You actually get a chance to go within yourself. You get to really be in your body, and you get to experience this little sweet human inside there that's being nourished by you and looked after by you, and you just want to give it the best life you can offer it right from the beginning. From the minute that sperm and that egg connect, you want to give it the best.
what other foods should we avoid?
Right, so classically we're told to limit the things that would typically, where your chance of getting food poisoning is the highest.
Yeah.
So raw fish, your chance of getting food poisoning, anything raw, is much higher. You could say the same for salads unless you're preparing them yourself. So you have to be fastidious about hand washing, where you're getting your food from. So food that isn't thoroughly cooked, again, your chances of some kind of bacterial infection is much higher. And when you're pregnant, you cannot take any medication unless it's almost life-threatening, for want of a better description. So you can't take painkillers. You you shouldn't be taking antibiotics. So there's nothing you can really take. So you want to limit your chances of getting sick as much as possible.
Yeah, you want to make sure your immune system is as strong as possible.
Yes.
We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to find out how to get the essential nutrients we need when we're pregnant. We'll see you in a short while.
I'm feeling better. I'm feeling better.
Welcome back and thanks for joining us on Real Health. We're talking about the holistic approach to pregnancy, and I'm joined by nutritional therapist and NLP practitioner Nikki Robertson, as well as food specialist Rachel Jessen. Before the break, we looked at the nutritional no-nos when you're pregnant, and we're about to find out what we should be eating. I know the one thing that you always see are the multivitamins, the omegas, preggy multivitamins on the shelves of pharmacies, and another thing is folic acid. But there's a difference between folate and folic acid. Tell us about that, Nikki.
So folic acid is made in a factory. It's a chemical version of your vitamin B, and it isn't bioavailable, or even it doesn't cycle through the body as naturally as your folate does, which occurs in food. So you want to get a folate supplement as opposed to a folic acid supplement.
So food-based.
Food-based.
And it's not as toxic as well,
yes,
right?
it doesn't build up to toxic levels. It cycles through the body naturally. It's eliminated as would be food.
Yeah.
Your omega-3s are crucial for brain development of the baby, absolutely vital. But you need to make sure that it's not, firstly, an omega-3 that's full of mercury, so it's got to be certified metal-free, because you'll get toxic levels of mercury building up in your own body and in the baby's brain, and in the baby's liver, and in the baby's kidneys. That's the last thing you want. So it's not a case of going to the arbitrary sort of supermarket type of pharmacy and just picking something off the shelf that looks like it should be or advertises that it's for pregnant women. You've got to be quite specific about what you get. If you're getting a whole food diet, or if you're supplementing with a very good quality multivitamin, you should not have cravings. So those cravings are a sign that there's something missing, and your body is going to be hunting for it in the weirdest places until you find what you need.
Food-based supplements are always the best. What were you using? What did you add to your...
I would always say go with, especially with your folate, to go with a good grass-fed hen's egg. It's very high in folate and other vitamins and minerals as well. Thiene choline, which is very good for brain development and neural development for the baby. They did a study, Mother Earth News did a study and looked at cage or confined hens' eggs versus pasture-reared natural pecking hens, and they found the folate levels 200% higher.
Wow.
But it makes such sense, because that's the environment you need to grow a healthy baby. So it's natural would be in an egg.
Absolutely. And then with the egg comes great cholesterol, especially in the yolk. So you need that good cholesterol again for the development. And then including like a really good grass-fed butter. Grass-fed butter has lecithin in it, which helps the body use that cholesterol. So it's all like a beautiful chain and a link. I always say go food first, and then you get, because food is so available in your body knows what to do with it, good, healthy, high quality, organic, preferably grass-fed, you know, you want the best of the best foods. Your body absolutely recognizes it, uses it, no problem.
And there's nutrient
Supplements
synergy there
can be
as well.
over and above that, and whatever you don't need, you excrete, and that's basically it. But you really want the best of the best from your foods, and high quality foods. So if you just, you know, focus on eating really well, even liver is so good, but you've got to get it from a pasture-reared animal. I wouldn't recommend liver from a convenience store. Because we store toxins in our liver. And of course they're on antibiotics, they're on hormones, they're on all sorts of horrible things. We don't know when it was given to the cow, when it was killed, or the animal at least when it was killed. So that's a big no-no. But if you're going for grass-fed liver, it's such a good organ meat, you'd soak it in lemon juice for 8 hours. Again, that just removes any extra toxins that might be in the liver. Before you cook it. There are ways you can do it. So you'd basically just cook it properly. You chop it up into small little squares and then freeze it. and then take those squares out and eat them as a supplement.
Oh,
You see, so you don't taste it. So you're just knocking it back like you would a pill. So there's a good plan. Yeah. So, I mean, liver's vital. Vitamin A, it's got more vitamin C than an orange.
Yeah.
In liver. So it's loaded with minerals.
And iron.
Absolutely. The stuff you need. So if you're feeling tired, you need, and you do feel tired.
Yes.
Particularly if you've had your second one. I know at the beginning I was exhausted. Yeah. So a good iron supplement in the liver is an excellent thing to actually consume just to increase your levels.
What about building the immune system, the mom's immune system, to make sure that she doesn't get sick, dealing with fatigue?
Again, I would say foods. And I would incorporate some of the superfoods like camu camu. It's got very, very high vitamin C. Baobab, very high in vitamin C. Include your green juices. Yes. Keep pumping those in every single day. Even make an orange carrot one and ginger one.
How are you making sure that you're cleaning your veggies before you're juicing them? I mean, even if you buy them from an organic source, is it fine then to just rinse them and pop them in?
No.
Okay.
You need to, there's a couple of ways. Distilled water has been shown to attract the chemical particles off a plant.
Okay.
It's not going to clean the systemic pesticide if it's something that's grown with a systemic, like a glycophosphate.
Okay.
Another way is to soak your veggies in a basin with some white vinegar.
Okay.
So mostly water, but a couple of tablespoons of white vinegar also clean things quite efficiently.
You can do food grade hydrogen peroxide as
Okay,
well, a
it's
couple
brilliant.
of drops in there as
Peroxide
well.
is brilliant.
And
Okay.
you get machines. You get O3 washers, which ionize the water and
Yes,
get
you spoke about that
90%
before.
of the
Yeah.
bacteria.
Okay.
So it's not a difficult thing.
Well, we're going to continue chatting to Nikki and Rachel in a short while, but first we went to go visit Sally Baker at Birth Support to find out more about her approach to antenatal classes.
My name is Sally Baker and my organisation is called Birth Support. Birth Support is all about helping couples prepare for and go through the journey of pregnancy, birth and early parenthood. Each one is preparing the body and helping this baby to get just right and ready to come out. Any questions? Antenatal classes are preparation classes that parents go to when they're pregnant. At Birth Support, they can expect holistic, interactive antenatal classes in a very small group where there's a lot of interaction and sharing and learning from each other and practical practicing together as a couple, learning how to cope with birth. The classes at Birth Support are based on Birthing from Within, which is a program that came out of America that focuses on childbirth and parenting preparation as a rite of passage. That when you become pregnant and prepare to give birth and to become a parent, there's a lot more preparation that is needed than just medical information. Because birth is not just a medical event, it is a life-transforming event. And Birth Support endeavours to prepare parents on a practical level, on an emotional level, and on a physical level, and on a spiritual level.
So generally, what's the most painful part of it? Is it's you were talking about the niggly little contractions?
I really want to prepare parents for whatever happens, that they can meet each moment, in the moment, do what needs to be done, nothing more, and then do the next moment. It's a way of being. I offer two options. There's the 6-week classes where they come for 2.5 hours over 6 weeks, and also a weekend intensive, which is a full day Saturday and a full day Sunday. It's an immersion into birth and preparation.
I think it's amazing to think, you were saying, according to how the baby's lying, it might be activating certain nerves, and that's why you're feeling pain in different places.
Baby-proofing the relationship means we work before it's happening and before everybody's tired and overwhelmed and everything's changed, in terms of looking at what is going to change, how might it change, how am I going to change, and then how are we going to manage that.
The world so high, like a diamond in the sky.
Benefits of antenatal classes are vast. Parents will get a lot of information beyond what they can get out of Google or friends and scary stories and what they can read in books. They can connect with other parents who are also going through this. They can learn how to cope with birth. They can learn what to expect from birth and what to expect from the place that they are giving birth. as well as the kinds of caregivers they have chosen. They will be able to learn about options, both for birth, for during birth, for after birth, for caring for their babies and as their children grow. As a couple, they can learn how to help each other. The dads can learn how to help the mums. So they learn a lot of information, which hopefully they can also learn how to implement and how to use together as a couple. I think it's vital, and people who don't attend antenatal classes often say, I wish I had known. I would recommend birthing from within antenatal classes to parents because it allows them to prepare holistically, realistically, and holistically for the entire experience of birth, not just a particular outcome.
Sounds very interesting. And Rach, you went to go see Sally Baker with your second child.
I did. What a treat to have her on the show.
I know.
She is a dedicated birthing psychologist. She was an absolute dream for me. I unfortunately didn't have the birth with my first child that I had really wanted in my head. I had these visions of squeezing my child out like toothpaste. So unfortunately had to have an emergency C-section. Sally had prepared me and said, you know what, it's okay. And I'd done so much work and lots of hours with her discussing what ifs, you know, the parts that you can't control. And it was a much better birth. It wasn't traumatic. In fact, it was a happy birth. It was smiling, and it was a real treat, that birth.
And we're going to talk a little bit more about the mindset that we need to prepare prior to giving birth. When we return, we'll also find out more about the role of a midwife. We explore different natural birthing options, and we visit the Genesis Maternity Clinic to look at the natural birthing facilities that they have to offer. See you after this.
I'm feeling better. I'm feeling better.
Welcome back, and thanks for joining us. You're watching Real Health, and today's episode is all about a holistically natural approach to pregnancy and birth. And joining us now is registered midwife Ruwaida Moola. Ruwaida, welcome to the show. It's great to have you with us. The one thing that comes up quite a bit on our Facebook page and our Instagram account, what is the difference between a midwife and a doula?
Okay, so a midwife is a trained professional. There we have a basic background of, we study nursing, so that's the baseline. And then we specialize in low-risk pregnancies. So we train and we specialize in how to monitor low-risk pregnancies. We basically do a 4 year and then again another 2 years of intense training and studying. The doula, they do a course on how to be with moms. So they specialize in reflexology and massage, and not so much the monitoring aspects of determining if the mom and the baby is well, whereas the midwife would then be able to detect abnormalities or any changes and then know where to proceed from there.
So you could choose to work with both?
Correct. So a lot of midwives, we work a lot with doulas. If I am there to birth, I usually have a doula that's present with, and they assist with the breathing and relaxation and walking and explaining and giving the mom that comfort. Not only the mom, but actually the parents to be.
What constitutes a low-risk pregnancy?
So a low-risk pregnancy is no medical complications. A lot of the time, pregnancy itself is daunting and overwhelming. And the mom would then come to us and then monitor. We then ascertain if the blood pressure is normal, if the kidney functioning is normal. And if there's any medical changes, that then becomes a higher risk pregnancy. So if there's medical complications that will result in a premature birth or a cesarean section, then they would need an obstetrician or gynecologist, which we refer to. If everything goes well and the mom would then birth normally, the mom can stay with the midwife, and then we remain with them throughout the pregnancy, the birth, and after as well.
So just so I have it in my head, understanding the process, would I still have to go to a gynae or an OB-GYN first and then to you, or do we do it simultaneously, or can I start with you and then perhaps see?
Well, we work like a big happy family. A lot of the moms would see us, and we refer according to the South African rule, they see the gynecologist twice in the pregnancy.
Okay.
To ascertain the baseline and then do a comparison towards the end to ensure that the pregnancy is going well. So we communicate all the time.
Okay.
If there's no indications for an obstetrician, they then remain with the midwife.
Okay.
And then the midwife then births.
Did either of you use a midwife?
I did,
Okay.
yes, yeah, for both my babies. It was the best thing I could have ever have done. I fired my gynae at 28 weeks because she just wasn't giving me the information. She's a fantastic gynae, she really is, but she's not a good baby gynae.
Yeah.
So I decided to look elsewhere and I found a midwife. I
Okay.
again birthed at Genesis.
Okay.
And I learnt more from my midwife than I would have ever have learnt from my gynecologist.
Yeah.
Important stuff.
Yeah.
Journaling, preparing the story, preparing how you're going to have this little human, what ideas and plans you have for it, the nutrition part of it, the invasive scans all the time. And I mean, you go to the gynae office, you have your weight done, you have your blood pressure done, you do your urine check, you felt for 2 seconds, and then you're out of there in 5 minutes.
What are you looking for at each stage of the pregnancy?
So clinically, to see how baby is progressing and how the baby is growing and if the mom is coping, because a lot of the times, and like it was discussed earlier, there could be nutritional factors and there could be no knowledge on that nutritional factor. So you need to have a look and then address it with them, and most of the time they'll chat to you and see how a lot of the clients are very open. It's a very good relationship that we have with each other. So we want the mom to be healthy and strong, the baby to be the same. Towards the end, we work a lot with nutrition, with exercise, with discussion on how the labor is supposed to be, or their thoughts on labor. No one can predict the outcome of a birth. No one can do that.
The first time births are often 15, 16, 17 hours. I know I did 16 hours. You've got to prepare nutritionally for 16 hours. It's like doing an Ironman. Yeah. So if you're not nourished properly, you're gonna have some issues.
Yeah.
So that's a very, very important point. Another nice thing that our midwife did was she came 7 days post-birth, which was delicious.
Lovely.
So the
Okay.
7th day we got to wash our little baby. It was just precious. So she just takes you through real special steps that you don't know as a mom.
It just seems like a much more wholesome,
absolutely
nourishing, nurturing environment.
They're checking your
Yes,
mental state, so postpartum depression, they're looking at all that kind of stuff. Whereas
Looking
you
at
don't get that
jaundice
from gynaes.
In fact, speaking of the facilities and the types of clinics that you work at, Genesis Maternity Clinic specializes in natural births, and we went to have a look at what this maternity facility has to offer you expecting moms.
Genesis has been just under 8 years in existence, and it comes from the original lady that started Genesis. Her name was Jude Pollock, and she had a great birthing experience with a midwife. Midwives were there way before the gynaes and the obstetricians were there. So we created this unit so that Genesis can be for midwifery care. We focus specifically on maternity with regards to private midwife practitioners. So in essence, women do have the option to choose a care provider in maternity care. They can go to a gynecologist or they can make use of a midwife. There's so many benefits on natural birth. Often girls would come and say, I had a Caesar because my doctor said so, and there's no specific reason. And if you look at normal low-risk pregnancies, about 90% of those girls can have a natural birth. The benefits of that is absolutely towards the baby and the mom, because there's no big surgery happening. The mom is up and about and she can bond with the baby much, much easier. She just has this experience. She's actually awake and alert while birthing this miracle. And she sees it firsthand. And the father and the family can participate in this miracle. The luxury family room is one of our greatest assets. I think it's one of the unique facility aspects of Genesis, and no other unit in South Africa can really brag with that. So it consists of a king-size bed in the room. It's like basically a hotel ensuite bathroom, hotel room with a private garden. And if there's another sibling, the sibling can stay over. The dad does not get separated from the mom, and we focus on a holistic family approach. An active birth is literally where we try to do the least medical interventions that you can do. You are letting the lady go into labor by herself, and you're letting the hormones do its job. So there's a cocktail of hormones that is part of your body that is actually in charge of the birth process. So the minute that we take that away from the lady by giving artificial hormones or medication, we completely take her role away from that. So she's in charge of the birth. And once she feels comfortable in an environment and she has the ability to be mobile, and we don't strap her down to a bed, and we give her some options in her own birth process, that is what we call active birth. A water birth is one of those beautiful ways of birthing your baby. It's actually when the mom gets into the bath and she's completely covered from the waist down. The water is in a specific temperature so that the baby's not being harmed or too hot or too cold. And she literally births this baby under the water. So water birth is completely relaxing for the mom. If she gets into the bath, immediately she goes into a relaxed mode, and that is what you want. So it's easing the pathway for the baby coming from the womb, from a watery environment into a watery environment. And that is basically what water births are all about. The focus is on natural birth, but one can never 100% say that that lady will have a natural birth. We do have a theatre. At the end of the day, we need to stay safe. You can say we do look after low-risk pregnancies, but we do not want to put our clients at risk. The non-medical options is specifically for the people that does not have a medical aid. So we offer them an option to come and birth here that is not as expensive as going to another private healthcare facility. So obviously they get the same value for money, but just for a more affordable option. The Genesis philosophy is to give the mother or the family the option to experience a natural birth, where they can be in control of their body. It's after all her birthing experience and the participation of the family, which is completely unique to Genesis.
It really is an amazing facility. A couple of my friends have given birth there, and Rachel's given birth there. Rach, thanks so much for coming. You always are a fountain of knowledge. Coming up, we look at the do's and don'ts of keeping fit and staying in shape during pregnancy. We'll see you in a short while.
I'm feeling better. I'm feeling better.
Thanks for watching Real Health and for joining us. And we have Damien Said who's joining us. He's the MD of Mobile Fitness Solutions. We're talking about exercise and pregnancy. There are so many myths surrounding this topic. Would you bust a few for us?
Yeah, sure. There are loads of myths. I think one of the main myths is that can one start exercising when they become pregnant?
Yes.
You know, and the truth is, yes, you can start an exercise program when you fall pregnant. Obviously, you're not going to be busting any of your personal records.
Yeah.
But you know, it's actually an ideal time to start a new exercise program. You don't want to overexert yourself. And I mean, when we say overexert yourself, look, a lot of people, one of the other myths is keep your heart rate below 140. That is a complete myth, because pregnant women's heart rates are already escalated. And you don't know what someone's maximum heart rate is, and everyone's genetically different. So what we say is work with your RPE, which is actually your rate of perceived exertion.
Okay.
So, you know, for an athlete, you want to push them until they cannot actually hold a conversation.
Yeah.
With a pregnant lady, you want her to exercise but still be able to hold a conversation.
Yeah, yeah.
So I think the guideline is if you cannot talk, if you're completely exhausted, you've pushed it too far. And then obviously things like being dizzy or you know any pain, especially swollen calf muscles, you know you want to immediately stop exercising.
Yeah.
But if you do experience any of these things, it doesn't mean you can't carry on. Just go and see your doctor, or speak to your midwife or your gynecologist, and you know you can carry on training.
It's about the intensity at the end of the day.
The common myth is a lot of people come to us and ask us, can I do stretching and can I do exercise, and if I do it, will the cord tangle around the baby's neck? It's a very common myth and it is very untrue. I'd just like to say that it is untrue.
It is untrue.
We really do need exercise
Yeah.
in pregnancy.
Give us an idea of why. I mean, we're not talking about the birthing process right now, but prior to is when you want to be exercising so that the birthing process is easier, right?
Exactly, yes, absolutely. So a lot of the times we tell you to start exercise and start stretching at about 34 weeks of the pregnancy. So we want to do a lot of walks every day. We want to do a lot of, implement a lot of stretching, toning, because when people say, I've never ever exercised before. Well, you've never ever been pregnant before too. So it's the first of both. So you need to tone your muscles. You need to have ligament moving when the baby is engaging in the pelvic canal. There's a lot of pelvic pressure at that point, and exercise and relaxing. Exercise is so good for muscles and ligaments that it actually decreases that tenderness when all those changes start taking place.
And helps with the pain as well.
Yeah, well, I mean, your body's producing relaxin and your tendons and your ligaments are already much looser. And yes, you can get injured easier, so you don't want to do any high intensity, not high intensity, but high impact rather exercises. You're not going to go and do squats with 80 kilogram dumbbells, but you can still do squats. The baby's not just going to fall out. That's another myth. You can sort of carry on with whatever exercise program you were doing, and weight training is actually very important. You want to do weight training. There was a study done out of 40 ladies in their late into their second trimester, and there was not one injury reported on a weight training regime. So obviously it needs to be done with supervision, but you can engage in a new weight training regime. You want to keep the weights sort of lighter than usual, and you can up your reps. And again, as you said, exercising your pelvic floors is really, really important. I mean, that's probably one of the most important exercises. If I would say or suggest one exercise to do, that's to do the Kegels. You want to really strengthen that pelvic floor, because at the end of the day, that's what's going to make the birth actually easier. Core exercises, abdominal exercises. Yes, there is abdominal separation sometime after the first trimester.
Yes, diastasis recti, right?
That's exactly, and you do want to check for that, which you can actually relatively easy check for that yourself. It's about sort of lying down, but not on your back, propped up, because you don't want to lie flat on your back. Any exercises flat on your back is a no-no. The reason for that is when you're pregnant, because the enlarged uterus will put pressure on your vena cava, and that's the vein that goes to your heart. And that can cause complications. So as long as your heart is above, your head is above your heart, you want to always be sort of in an upright position. What you can do is sort of lie back, feet flat on the floor, and if you can feel a gap more than 3 fingers below your belly button and above your belly button, that means you've got diastasis recti, and then you don't really want to do any intense abdominal crunches. And I don't really believe in abdominal crunches anyway. It's kind of a myth as to if they even do anything. I mean, your abs are an explosive muscle as it is. So you do want to take care. And again, keep sort of a balance. We talk about running. If you're a runner, you can carry on running. I mean, runners can carry on running well into their 3rd trimester. I mean, obviously physics will take hold of you, and eventually you'll have to start walking. But you can carry on. You're not a porcelain doll when you're pregnant, and your baby's really safe inside your belly. You're not going to damage him or her. doing these exercises. You obviously don't want to do anything like skiing or horseback riding or motorcycle racing, or you remain safe. But still carry on with your exercise.
My mom was doing aerobics classes all the way up till she gave birth to me. Were you exercising during your pregnancy?
Right the way through.
Yeah.
But I was used to exercising. I train religiously. So it was crucial for my mindset. So it made me feel happy and peaceful, and it also gets the blood flow going. And you don't swell up as much. I had a very easy pregnancy, and I put it down to, obviously, the nutrition, but the fact that I was very, very fastidious about getting into a pool or going spinning or doing some kind of movement every day, because it helps with the aches and pains.
What about a mom like Rachel, for example, who's quite fit? She's training into a pregnancy. Anything or any advice regarding nutrition?
You've got to be sensitive to what your body needs. So if you're more hungry, eat more. If you're more active, you will need more food. When you're pregnant, you need more protein than you might need if you weren't pregnant, because you're growing another human being, and that human being is made up of protein. So to limit your protein is a big mistake. So I wouldn't say you've got to eat for two, but you do if you're really active, especially to that level. Don't let yourself get hungry, because then you'll start craving. And when you start craving, you'll make the wrong choices.
Yeah, that's true.
So you've just got to be sensitive to what you're needing.
Yeah.
That's probably the best way.
We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, I'm going to pick your brain about some good exercises to do as well in the process leading up to birth. And you stay with us, because when we come back, we're also going to engage around the mental aspects of pregnancy and the emotional aspects as well. So do stay with us.
I'm feeling better. I'm feeling better.
Thanks so much for joining us in Real Health. Welcome back. We've spoken about nutrition. We've also talked about exercise, as well as different natural birthing options. But how do we not allow fear and negative self-talk to get the better of us? It's the mental game right now. And I think we've spoken about the fact that it's a stressor, right? Being pregnant is a stress, especially if you weren't planning it. How do we deal with this space, Nikki? Because I know it's something that I'm going to have to do a lot of work on.
Sure. As a species, we're a herd animal. We are meant to have a support system. We are meant to have our grannies and mothers and aunties and everyone who's been through it around us to suppress our fears and give us the actual picture of what's going on. And I think that's where a midwife plays that role of the support structure. So stress in pregnancy comes from not knowing. It comes from horror stories of Googling what happens when. Most of it is absolute rubbish. And if these things happen, it's 1 in a million. Pregnancy is the most natural thing. Your body knows what to do. And you've got to have a little bit of trust, a little bit of faith, but to have a support system is the easiest route for most of us to allay our anxiety. So anxiety is fear of the future. So if you've got someone on site who can explain things, who can be there and be patient with you, like we would in a tribe where we've got our elders or our wise women to support the situation, it should be a painless, effortless, happy experience. But we come at it in this day and age of being on our own, relying on strangers, clinical environments, which cause more anxiety. So you don't know what you're dealing with.
Well, I think some of my stress is that the lifestyle that I'm living is very different to that which I grew up in. So I know that from a nutritional perspective, I'm going to be sort of chartering a new course. So I may not have the type of support that I think I want to have. So what do you do in that instance?
So we try and eliminate that by being there for the mum, with the mum. We also then, it is so important, like you said, to be emotionally happy, and that also determines what's going to happen after birth, because if there's more stresses, breastfeeding could be difficult, postnatal depression will then kick in, and then it's just a vicious cycle. You're back to where you were initially. So counseling is so important, and trying to get the mum in a good headspace, not only the mum, but the entire family, because it's a whole new challenge. And if you look at it with happiness and a different outlook, I think that the pregnancy and the birth can be enjoyed.
Damien, this is where I think something like meditation, yoga, Pilates, those type of exercises can definitely improve your mental state.
Absolutely. I mean, any exercise really improves your mental state. Cardio, really produces endorphins. I mean, that's a feel-good hormone on its own. So that really is going to increase your mental state. I mean, after a good session, and you don't have to, just do walking and just do like exercises that don't get your heart pumping, don't get your endorphins going. You can do various training, high intensity interval training. You can embark on an interval training program as long as, again, you take note of your rate of perceived exertion, as long as you don't go over about a 7 out of 10.
Talk to us a little bit about the rate of perceived exertion, because it's basically a talk test, right?
It is basically a talk test. I mean, if you think 10 being your absolute maximum, you cannot go further than 10, and 1 being sitting doing nothing, you want to be at around a 6 or a 7. Obviously, if there's no complications in your pregnancy, if there are any complications, you want to speak to your doctor first, but you can still probably go for a walk, a leisurely walk, and still get your heart rate up and get out there in the fresh air. One thing to remember about getting out there is, especially in the first trimester, you don't want to overheat your body and overheat your baby, because that can be very dangerous. So no Bikram yoga, no going for long jogs in the sun in the middle of the afternoon. You know, you want to keep your core temperature low.
Okay.
It's very, very important, and stay well hydrated. You know, drink a glass of water for every 30 minutes of exercise. If not more. Obviously, you don't want to overdo the water.
Yeah.
But again, you want to just, it's all about balance.
Yeah, that happy medium.
Yes, and you want to listen to your body, and you want to get the good results of exercise, the feel-good feeling. I promise you, if you can, while you're pregnant, still go look in the mirror and feel good and look at my arms and look how I look. It's a game changer for you. You know, the thing is, the more sedentary you are, the more sedentary you become. Now, that just goes around and around and around. So you know, get out there, get out there.
Yeah, because that's obviously a fear as well. I'm pregnant. Am I going to put on all this weight? It doesn't have to be that way, right?
Not at all. You don't have to. This perception of putting on 20 kilos of baby weight is absolute nonsense. If there's a hormone problem, you'll probably put on weight, but then get your tribe around you, get the right doctors, the right support people to educate you what's going on and how do we stop this from happening. You're not a victim of circumstance when you're pregnant. You have a lot of control. You might not have control at the last minute when the baby's popping. That's your body doing what it knows how to do. But you've got absolute control over what you put in your mouth, how you manage your stress, what time you go to bed, whether or not you drink water, whether or not you train. That's all within your control, and that will determine the happiness factor in your pregnancy.
Yeah, in fact, this preparation phase is actually engaging mentally so that you can allow your body to do whatever it needs to do when it needs to do it, right?
That's true.
Well, I think at the end of the day, a great way to celebrate pregnancy is to pamper yourself. And so we visited Sherbet Angel Boutique Spa in Parkhurst to find out what maternity spa treatments they have available.
7 years ago, when I was pregnant with my first child, my mom and I decided we would love to do something together, something special, something different. Being pregnant, obviously, I felt that there was a niche out there in terms of the industry where one could come as a mom or a mom-to-be, feel at home, not like your normal spa experience, but rather something that was more specialized for moms and moms-to-be. There's no one that needs treatments and pampering like a super mama under construction. What's very important to us is the experience you have.
So the way I prepared for pregnancy is just to read up a lot. I did quite a bit of research, and thereby I started implementing small changes to have a healthy pregnancy. I'm in my 3rd trimester now. I didn't think it would be this uncomfortable, to be honest. I stuck to eating a balanced diet. I did enjoy more carbs because that's quite healthy for baby. It's not the time to go on a strict diet. So I enjoyed my food. I ate quite well. Particularly in my 2nd and 3rd trimester. I've really just tried to stay as calm as possible. Work has its added pressure in that, and I've needed to sort of implement internal mechanisms to try and cope with stressful situations and try not let it get to me as much, because as calm as I am is how calm my baby would be. I think if I'm okay and I'm healthy and I'm well, then I'm more able to take care of my baby and my husband as well, and less pressure on him. So I think it's very important that moms do put themselves first at a time. I have enjoyed a few preggy massages and a little bit more extra sort of girl time and time to myself, because I think I'll lack that quite soon.
Our most popular treatment is our Mellow Mama full body pregnancy massage. You are enveloped in all our omega oils, which are so excellent for your tummy, your stretch, the skin that stretches, the dryness, that itchy belly that you get. Omegas are so vital during pregnancy to nourish and give the skin and help with elasticity in the skin. Our Gorgeous Glow facial treatment is phenomenal in the sense of it's rebalancing. That hormone change you go through is massive, and all kinds of things can happen on the skin. What is vital for me with the products is they're all organic and natural. So no parabens, no petroleum, no mineral oil. A really awesome one is our Lighten Up leg treatment. A lot of moms suffer with that water retention. Some straight through, some right at the end. So just to help with the swollen ankles, that heavy, tired feeling. I loved being pregnant. A lot of my friends told me I could just be pregnant my whole life. You just suit it so well. I enjoyed all the moments. Yes, there's things that can go wrong and you feel a certain way at some points, but just to take it all in and be open-minded. I think about your birthing process, about who you're going to be as a mother. Just embrace everything that's going on around you and just take it in, because it does go by so quickly. I mean, my biggest is going to be 7 and I just don't know where the time's gone. So it really is such a wonderful, wonderful experience. And I think for me was going and doing treatments like this and nurturing yourself and taking care of yourself, exercise, eat well. Yes, just because you're eating for 2 doesn't mean you have to stuff all the pies in your face. We can really, there's so much on offer today health-wise, and you can really look after yourself and your baby through the process.
Well, I love going to Sherbet Angel in Parkhurst. They look after my nails and my skincare as well, a sponsor of the show. So Lauren was in great hands. So I'm so sad that we have to say goodbye to you all. We're going to bring you back, Damien, because it was great having you with you, as well as you, Rueda, because we've still got to go into the actual pregnancy process and birthing process. Just some final closing thoughts. I know you said Kegels are fantastic. Some people may not know what they are, and it'll help with the sex life as well, getting the baby, conceiving the baby. Tell us what it is.
That's true. It's basically, well, it's the same muscles that you used to hold in your wee.
Okay.
So it's that feeling of just pulling in, holding your wee, and releasing.
I can do them right now and you wouldn't even know.
Yeah, exactly. You can do them anywhere, anytime. And if it's difficult for you, you can start off with say a hold for 10 seconds and go and do that 10 times. And then you want to gradually build up to holding it for 20 seconds and doing that 20 times 3. So
Okay.
20, 40, 60 times, and you can do that twice or 3 times a day.
A day.
And at the end, then at the end of your 3rd trimester, you're going to have a strong pelvic floor,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that's what you want.
Yeah, and post-birth, that's exactly what you want as well. Your final closing thoughts, Rueda?
I'd like to tell the moms to be that it's their choice of birth. So there's so many different options. Choose something that makes you feel comfortable. You could have a bed birth, a water birth. You could be in different positions while you birth. Just choose what you want, because it's like a roller coaster. There's no rewinds. You're never ever going to have it again for that particular thrill. So make sure that it's the best. And once it's the best, you'll be emotionally happy and physically fit.
Awesome. Next?
Probiotics, I think, are fundamentally the most important thing for a newborn baby. Also for the mum, you want to inoculate the immune system.
Yeah.
Pregnant women do have a more robust immune system than the rest of us.
Okay.
Something happens in the body that just brings out all the forces and makes you more resilient to bacteria and infections. But probiotics are one thing that most of us lack, and they are a barrier to the outside world. Especially for babies who are born C-section, they don't get the benefit of the
Birthing
bacteria.
canal, yeah.
So to actually physically, and I did it myself and I'd do it again, I gave my little one, within minutes of being born, a full-on adult-sized dose of lactobacillus, and she has the most incredible immune system, and I can really put it down to that.
Lots of fermented foods, kefirs and things like that.
Yes, and when you're breastfeeding, if you're eating fermented foods and you're having your probiotics, that will be passed on to the baby as well.
Yes. Guys, again, thanks so much for joining us on Real Health. And you out there, let us know what you thought of today's show. Send us an email to info@thehomechannel.co.za. Also, if you want to get in touch with our amazing guests, and if you have some pregnancy or birth topics that you wanted to chat about, send us that email. But if you want to get in touch with our amazing guests on today's show, you can visit thehomechannel.co.za for their contact details. And until next time, goodbye, stay healthy, and remember our mantra: you are healthy, vibrant, and lean. Love and take care of your being.
Might be
Cheers,
the
guys.
summer trees, but I'm feeling better now. I'm feeling better. I'm feeling better. I'm feeling better.